Good evening, everyone. Welcome. I'm Michelle, and I'm really looking forward to working with you all this evening and to improving your presentation skills. As we go along, if you feel that you'd like to ask any questions, please, I encourage it. You're welcome to ask. Just either raise your hand, but I think it's better if I know that your mics are going to be unmuted, so please, you're welcome to shout out and just ask me anything you want on the topic. So I look forward to the presenting tonight. So tell me, what is your $1 million question? It's the difference between a graduate who only earns 25,000 Rand a month and the one who earns 35,000 plus in their first job. Your answer is the communication skills that you're given. So it seems like 85% of our career success is focused on the communication skills, and 15% of our career success is based on our technical knowledge. So obviously you can see that your degree will get you into the door. But the communication side of things, your skills there, will determine how far we go in life, and especially in business. Naturally, we've got a very competitive job market here in SA. We all know about it. And it seems like the employers value cross-cultural communication. It's really important. We have so many different cultures in our country. And we're all so different and it's amazing. But it's a matter of how we're able to communicate and connect with everyone. And I think that's why it's so important to work on those communication skills, those tools, in order to be able to connect with all the different people. And I'm not saying it's easy, but we have to at least try. And the only way to get to the end is to work through it slowly and together. So by the end of the presentation, you'll definitely have a framework of how to present and obviously to communicate better. And I really hope that you'll be able to know your areas of development. Before we begin, I'd like for you to take a look at this and rate yourself on each statement. Firstly, how clearly are you able to communicate your ideas during your everyday conversations or your professional discussions? And I've given you 5 different points there. You can work through that. Number 2, how confident are you when you speak in front of groups or in front of unfamiliar people? Number 3, how well are you able to connect with your audience or your listener? So that's going to be a big one. Take time, work through it, and then if you don't mind, you're welcome to put it in the poll. But there's a range of about 10 questions, so I'd like you to really just rate yourself and actually record it so that at the end of it you're able to see where you're going with this and where your areas of weakness are and where we can improve. Questions so far? Okay. When we're looking at communication and being able to present adequately, the first thing that you need to remember is the message that you're trying to get across has to be clear. You want that message to be understood the first time. So very often I tell my clients that message must be packaged in such a way, not for you to understand it, but for the person on the other side, the receiver, they have to be able to receive the message, and they have to understand the message that you're trying to get across to them. So it's all about how you put that message together in a clear way so that they can understand you. And the way that you can see if they understand you is by their response. The second area that you need to work on is your confidence. So obviously, the more you work at your presentation, the more you deliver it, the more confident you're going to be. And obviously, people will trust you. It inspires trust. You're going to be happier with the outcome. Each time you prepare, each time you work through it and deliver a presentation successfully, the more confident you're going to get. And I know it's easier said than done. The third area you're working on is your connection. So I know when we're up and standing in front of a group of people, it becomes very difficult for us to be able to get a connection. And I think very often we feel that, the first thing that we need to do and the best thing for us is to just be able to stand there and to be able to say what we need to say. But not after this presentation. I hope that after that you'll be able to take one foot forward, move around, engage with your people. It's very much like speaking to a friend. When you walk up to someone and you strike up a conversation, generally it's quite easy. And I think presentations should be the same. It's very much based on your confidence and how much you've prepared. And it's a way of creating a connection. That connection again with the audience is so important. The audience has to feel engaged, and they have to feel valued, like they mean something to you. And you're not just talking nonsense to them. They need to know that they can trust what you're saying. Okay. Again, I'd like you to take a look at these questions. Please, can you define a clear purpose or a sentence, an intention for your presentation? So again, look at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 underneath, and rate yourself there, how you feel that you do it. Question 5, how well do you organize your message using the 3-point structure: preview, content, and summary? Do you do it? Do you put a message together well? How do you go about it? Again, look at those 5 little pointers. And question 6 is, how effectively do you open your presentation to capture people's attention? Okay, so I'll give you a moment and then we'll carry on. Okay. Have we all answered the 3 questions here? So when we are presenting, obviously we want to get results, and we want people to be part of our presentation and to really gain from it. And we don't just want to stand there like dead ducks and completely boring and not welcoming, and basically we don't want a situation where we're putting people to sleep. So I found this to be very, very helpful, and moving forward, I think it's something that you should keep in the back of your mind so that when you put a presentation together, it's something that you can remember easily, and you can apply it to when you're actually presenting and preparing a presentation. So this is your impact framework. First of all, you have to create your setting. What is the intention and what are you trying to get across? What is your intention? So that is your first port of call. Think about the intention that you'd like to bring across through this presentation. The next thing is your message architecture. So like I said just now, the message must always be put across in a clear manner so that everybody, whether it's a janitor in the business or whether it's the boss, the CEO, everyone needs to be able to understand you. So I'm not saying use language that is very, very simplistic. I'm saying use language that is quite of a very decent level. Try use punchy, insightful language, something that's going to draw people in. Your opening needs to be powerful, not just something that doesn't really mean anything to anybody. It's got to be powerful. It's got to mean something. This will then help with your audience engagement. Draw them in. Maybe what you should do is ask people for examples, ask for volunteers, get people talking and get them talking to you. They're sitting right in front of you. What is stopping you as a presenter from asking them a question? What is stopping you as a presenter from going and saying, right, you over there, you over there? It's not as if we're on a TV where you can't interact with people all over at once. We are lucky because the people are right in front of us. Use that ability. Engage with the people in front of you. Obviously, we need to now build our confidence. The way we build our confidence is just repetition. Just prepare nicely, repeat your presentation. I'm not saying you have to learn it off by heart. I'm saying you need to get into a situation where you are comfortable with what you're saying. You're comfortable with what's on the overhead, if there is an overhead. Then you have your transition and close it off. Have we got any questions so far?
Hi, Michelle. Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Nombulelo, and I am the Employability Officer at Regent Business School. I'm based at the Durban campus. So I just wanted to add on the audience engagement. So this is where one could possibly have a short clip that they show their audience in relation to their presentation. So this is where creativity might come into play. If you're delivering a speech on a certain topic and maybe you'd find a relatable news headline, for an example, that's around at the moment. So I just want to add on in terms of audience engagement, get even something that's relevant at the moment to get people's attention. Am I correct with that?
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that. That is exactly what we mean. It's exactly what you need. It's something that's going to be, it doesn't necessarily have to be current news, but something that's going to be impactful, whether it's a short, I mean, I use a lot of video clips. It can be a short video clip that drives a point home. It can be a little saying, but it's something that means something, and it's going to stick in people's minds. That's how you also,
Correct.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. No, thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. When we're setting our intention, I like to use the one sentence rule. So basically, as an example, can you summarize your presentation in one compelling sentence? It's the best thing to, I mean, what I normally like to do is I put my presentation together and then I take a step back. I say, right, this is what I've done here. I take a step back and I say, okay, this is what I need to achieve at the end of it. And I've just set an example here. By the end of the presentation, you will have 3 proven techniques to double your interview success rate. So it's basically just take one really important sentence from your entire presentation that is impactful, and that will be your intention setting. Questions? We are right so far. Cool. Now, for the message. When we're putting the message together, I find it's beneficial to basically, when you're putting it together, you're going to tell people what you're going to tell them. You then tell them, like for example, you put content in with stories, examples, and then what you're going to do is you're going to tell them what you told them. So basically, it's a summary with a call to action. Does that make sense? I think it's important that just to, like, when we're trying to put a message together, for us, it's got to mean something to us as the presenter. If it means something to you, then you're able to bring it forward in a way that it means something to the listener as well. And I think that's the main thing that we need to concentrate on is, yes, of course, we can tell them what we're going to tell them, and then you tell them, and then tell them what you told them, which I think is, it's quite a mouthful to remember. But at the end of the day, a message, you need to know that it's something, it's got to mean something to you. And it has to be packaged in a way that people will understand, and in a way that you can get a response from it. Okay. When it comes to a powerful opening, naturally, you want it to stick in people's minds. It has to be something that people will remember, and it's going to, yes, I know I keep saying impactful, use those, that punchy language, and it's right, but there's techniques that you can use. So the first one is a question hook. For example, how many of you have ever felt the heart racing before a presentation? I know I have. And the more I've prepared myself, the more I've worked through my presentations, the easier it becomes and more at ease I am with the work. So although sometimes when I feel like my heart is racing and I don't feel prepared, it's very much about my adrenaline and the excitement. So I think very often we need to just take a step back and realize, have we prepared? Are we prepared? If we've prepared, is it excitement that we're feeling? Is it nerves? What is it that is making our heart race like this? So you need to master yourself. You need to first know yourself, your abilities and your feelings. And you need to obviously be able to be in a position where you've sufficiently prepared, and now you're delivering in a way that people are happy to listen to you. So firstly, you've got your question hook. The next technique, you can use the statistics shock. So very often they'll open a presentation, or they'll open by speaking to you and saying 75% of people fear public speaking more than death, which, I mean, that is quite impactful. I would remember that. Your third opening technique is the story start. So as an example, they've said 3 years ago, I watched a student transform from nervous wreck to confident speaker in 30 days. It makes you think. So you've got to create you've got to put an opening together where it impacts the mind. People are sitting there and thinking. It's not just a matter of, stringing some words together and just saying a speech and delivering something. Presentation is not about that. It's so much more. It's about how you're engaging. It's about how you know your craft and how you're able to get it across to people whereby they are actually happy and wanting to listen to you and are drawn in and want more. Questions?
Yes, Michelle. Sorry, again, it's me again.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
from what I am understanding from these powerful opening techniques, is that you want to grab your audience attention by the sense of delivering something that they are relatable to.
Correct.
So, by asking having the question hook, that's where you'll have maybe a quarter of the audience saying, okay, I relate to that question. And then you deliver a statistic shock and you capture another quarter of the audience. You're like, oh no, I also relate to that because I've experienced something similar. And then with the story that you tell, that's when you've grabbed the entire audience. So from what I'm understanding is that 9 out of 10, you will relate to what the presenter is talking about by using those opening techniques.
Well, yes. So, yes, exactly. But I think also you just remember that you don't have to use all three techniques in one. I think if you focus on, I think you're focusing on it and you putting it all together in one, and it doesn't need to be like that. I think, when you're opening, when you're doing an opening, it's very much like you're trying to gain traction, and you're trying to start it off, and it's like writing. You remember, like when you wrote an essay at school, so your teacher would say to you, you need a beginning, a middle, and an end. The opening, the body, and the conclusion, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's very much like that. So I always compare presenting to when we're writing an essay, because very often a literary essay is also there as like a way of enticing people to listen. But the essay is more for reading. The presentation is for listening. So I think it's, yes, it's a different form of communicating, but you're still putting something powerful across to either a reader or a listener. So when you are opening a presentation, just as you open an essay, it has to be powerful. It has to impact the person. And you can use any one of three. You can use all three, but start with one and see how that goes. It's you'll see later that sometimes a little bit goes a long way. If you put one phrase that's impactful, people want to listen for more, and you don't and you don't want to put too much into the opening, because what are you going to put into the body of it? What are you going to put at the end? Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's got to be balanced. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Any more questions? Cool. Thank you, Nombulelo.
Michelle, we got a very shy audience this evening.
That's all right.
Yeah. No, we'll draw them out. There are prizes that we're giving away. Let's see who interacts and who says what. But maybe just as a side comment, I managed to disembark from my plane and I'm on the road now. But one or 2 points I picked up, which I thought was like really insightful to me.
Yes,
Really, if you think about communication, it's the key to almost everything that we do on a day-to-day basis. So when
absolutely.
you're giving an instruction to somebody, whether you're ordering something at a restaurant, whether well, I said instruction, but giving instruction at work to a fellow colleague, etc., etc. But if I think about it in the age of AI, and we do quite a bit of training on AI and on prompting.
Right.
And what I've found a lot of people talking about is that if you are good at communicating, just generally, your chances of prompting well is higher and better.
Yes,
So,
true.
there are people who use AI and just don't get the end effect of what they're looking for because they're bad at communicating. And maybe I know that's not the topic for this evening, but I just want to emphasize that part that, the session this evening about presentation and communication is actually vital beyond just
Absolutely.
a live audience. It's something that becomes a life skill that people can use. But I'm going to try and keep quiet now. I've got sort of a hands-free kit, but I'm going to just listen and let you and the rest of the team talk. But let's
No,
see some comments from people, guys. Let's see some comments from you, and we will take it from there. Thanks.
thank you, Zane. But yes, you're 100% right. I think especially when it comes to AI, you need to have those punchy one-liners, and you need to know exactly how to ask and in what way in order to draw out what you're needing. And I think that is also the point here, as you very importantly said. I think when we are trying to put a presentation across, people have to feel like they're drawn in. So the best way to do it is use those one-liners. Use these three techniques. You can play around with it and see how it works for you. And just set yourself a challenge, maybe. See how it goes, and let me know. I'm really, really excited to hear of your feedback as well, and how it works for you. I know, look, I know this is easier said than done, and I know it's Michelle said this, Michelle said that, but I think when it comes to presenting, yeah, you do need to practice. And I think the best thing to do is break it up. And you'll see later, we'll discuss it. We'll see how we're going to break it up and how we set ourselves a challenge in order to build up, because it doesn't just happen like this overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day. You need to take it slow and you need to master it. Every step of the way is mastery, and you need to start small so that you can build up and get to the great stuff.
I think we have a hand.
Yes, please.
Hi, Michelle. I
Hi.
just want to check. Are you focusing on presenting face to face, or are you going to delve into like what you're doing now, which is
Both?
the online element? I'm asking because I do both, so I'm hoping for a bit of tips with both. A bit
Sure.
of, this and that.
So,
Yeah.
so look, I mean, the way I based this was face to face, but you can see obviously in this forum, it's not a face to face situation. You're welcome to ask any questions, and thank you for bringing it up, because at the end of the day, it is all about how you draw people in and how you change your voice and use your language in different ways in order to entice people and make them want to listen to you. So at the end of the day, it is the same thing, but being able to stand in front of people, I think sometimes it could be easier. You know, when you're sitting behind a computer, you might be in your pajamas, you might feel very comfortable, but what happens if you have a problem with the network? What happens if you have a blackout? You know, there's so many things that could interrupt the the presentation when it comes to online, that when you come back on, you might feel completely you're sideswiped, so you actually don't know where to pick up or what to say. And I find that people tend to apologize a lot, which is really, please, you mustn't, because everybody
Yeah.
makes mistakes.
Yeah, Michelle, maybe the other thing is, and we don't know who's watching Netflix as they plugged into this. They're watching Netflix, so they haven't got their focus on you.
Yes,
But you're absolutely right. I mean, the tips and advice apply equally to both. And the
correct.
key thing is, how do you maintain or keep the engagement level, the concentration and the engagement level? So the hook that you spoke about earlier is one thing. You're gonna do the advantage of an in-person one is you can see the frown on their head or
Correct.
their body language, and
Correct.
you can sort of read the room a lot easier. So you want to do that, and it's very difficult to try and do what we're doing now. How do we try and pass on to people who are in this group, 52, 53 of us that are on this group, useful knowledge that we think will make life changes to people if they follow them, but we don't know, whether or not they're engaged or not engaged. I mean, for example, everyone's cameras are off. Now, I know there's maybe logistical issues why the cameras are off, because not because they're in pajamas, but but because because of bandwidth, etc., etc. So, Velma, your questions are valid. I think practice the in-person one and work hard at perfecting the online one. It's something that we at Region are grappling with also, especially since a lot of the webinars are online. And we don't really know whether there's student engagement and how do we improve student engagement, etc., etc. So forgive me again, Michelle, for coming through, but I like Velma. Velma, while I'm with you, congratulations. You won a prize. I'll post my email address at the end or shortly. You drop me an email and I'll send you your small gift. It's a small token gift, but thank you for coming through and being the first speaker for this evening. Thank you, Velma.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
It's just the online thing is quite challenging because I mean I can see with the engagement and just that's a whole different country on its own. But thank you for your answer, both of you.
Is there something specific that you wanted to ask when it comes to presentations online?
Not really. I mean, it's everything that, especially, so I hope I say his name correctly, Hussein, what he's saying about, mostly it's really engagement. You know what I mean? Like what's happening now, we're with you, and just getting people to interact a little bit more online. But it's a whole different topic I'm researching as well on my side.
So I think sorry, just to interject, I think it's also about you ask questions. You very often, yes, it does become difficult when you ask a question and there's nothing that comes back. And invariably, it's something that we deal with. It's something that it does happen, but it doesn't mean that it's a reflection on you. I think from what I've seen, a lot of people find it difficult to stand up and utter those first words when it comes to being in front of other people. I mean, there was a situation. I was giving a class last week, and one of the gentlemen is he speaks a specific language, and then so let's say he speaks Afrikaans. So what he does is he goes and gets AI, he translates everything to English, he gives it to his wife, makes sure that everything is perfect, and then he delivers to the boss or whoever it needs to go to, right? He is not comfortable to use his English because he knows or he feels that it's not of an adequate level, and there's a lot of grammatical, maybe punctuation issues, etc. So I think, from that, what I took was, people are not always comfortable to get up and say things because maybe there are personal things that they're scared of, and they can't push themselves over the edge in order to conquer that fear. And I get it. I completely get it. It's not easy, but the only way to conquer it is move through it. And as I said, it's not always a reflection of you. If you ask a question and nothing comes back, it's not a reflection on you all the time. So I think it's a very fine line of thinking, okay, well, what is my issue? What is mine? What is not mine? Have I done this and prepared to the best of my ability? Could I have done better? And then you've got the complete other side. Could I have done better? And you think, well, enough is enough because you've prepared, and you are so good at what you do, and you don't. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's kind of like you're putting yourself down. So I think you definitely have to sit, and there's a lot of soul searching and a lot of situations where you need to sit with yourself and say, right, this is where I could have improved. This is where I was really great, but I need a little bit more information here. And you know what? Maybe it's a good idea to ask the people after the session. Go and have a chat with the people that are listening to you. Ask them for feedback, for verbal feedback. I find, it's great sitting with yourself and your own feelings and emotions and your thoughts. But sometimes it helps if someone's there that you can ask them and they say to you, well, I think you could have been better here, but you were great with this, and I really enjoyed this fact. So, yeah, I think there's definitely there's a point where we need to stop questioning ourselves. But yeah, it's a lot of honesty, a lot of self-honesty. Which brings me to our audience engagement, where we need to realize the human attention span, it resets every 7 minutes. So you've got to try and keep the people involved. It's difficult. So there's different techniques you can use, like the pause and poll. Ask questions. I find that really helps because it brings people back. What I sometimes do is I even repeat the question again when I feel something's important or when I need to create a bit of impact on something. I even repeat the question. And, very often I do get a blank face as if to say, but why the hell would you do that? Why are you doing that? And then you
Sorry,
get
Michelle.
Yeah, hi.
There's a lovely chat going on. I just want us to do an example of a poll right now. There are people saying they prefer online presentation and others prefer in-person presentation, obviously for various reasons. So can you do a poll right now? Can people who prefer online presentation, give a thumbs up reaction. Okay, I'm seeing a thumb. Okay, and then people who prefer in-person presentations, can we get a heart? There we go. So that was a lovely example of a poll during a presentation. Take away, Michelle.
How many prefer in person? How many online?
I think majority leaned towards
in person.
In person.
Okay, right. Yeah, it sounds about right. And I think, I mean, I prefer in person too. I love it because I'm able to actually speak to people. I love people. I love being around people. I love talking to people. So yeah, I get it. It's and it makes things like, especially for me, it makes it easier to see. Just like Hussein said earlier, it's easy to see the facial expression, the body language. So yeah, it really does add to the feel in the room. And I mean, you know, sometimes you will get a difficult audience. It doesn't mean that you are bad at what you do. I think you can use all the engagement techniques you want, but you will still sometimes get those difficult sessions, and it's not you. You need to keep remembering it's not always you, but you need to know how to use the tools in such a way that it gets people, you know, to be involved. Get them involved. That's what you're wanting.
Michelle, can I just come through again? Sorry.
Yes, please.
And I know you're trying to be kind to people by saying it's not you, but I think maybe let's add a caveat to that. Preparation, preparation, preparation.
Yes.
So don't just work on the assumption, because you don't know who your audience is.
True.
And especially for many of the people on this group this evening, a number of them, my suspicion is they are already working professionals, right?
Right.
They may be called on to make a presentation. They may be called on to deliver a talk, etc., etc. And that whole thing of, well, I know my thing enough and I can go and stand in front and sort of wing it, if that makes sense.
It doesn't work that way. It doesn't
Just don't do that.
No.
Just don't do that. The preparation is vital. It's key. You know, I've been, Michelle, maybe like you, I've been doing public speaking since I'm probably in high school. Okay. I've done a lot of it since I started working as a professional. And a tip that a senior gave me many years ago is work on the assumption. No. It was something to the effect of work on the assumption that you know more than your audience. But he says, but ensure that you know more than your audience.
100%.
So when you stand in front and you can talk with confidence, it comes from a point of knowledge. You are sort of a subject matter expert. So yes, sometimes you can deliver a talk, a presentation, a really good one, with all the hooks and all the tricks, and the audience is just not ready. Like tonight, they're forced to be here. You know, they think they're going to get marks for sitting in this class. So, okay, I'm just going to have to like judge myself. That's what I'm saying. I can see you who's watching Netflix, Novulelo. I can see who's that Novulelo. And so they're sort of doing it half-heartedly. That is out of your power, your what you call it, of control. But if you go into the session with full knowledge and confidence on the subject topic that you've been to, you can do it that way. I want to make one more point, and I'll try and keep quiet. I'm sitting on 11% battery. While most of us prefer, whether it's us presenting or listening to an in-person presentation, which is always great, unfortunately, how do I say it? Unfortunately, in a way that doesn't sound negative, Unfortunately, the reality is we have to engage with the technology like we're doing now. The majority of the people on this call are distance students at Regent. You chose to study in this mode, or in this mode. And so the only way we can really deliver this this lecture or the session is online. The people that you're going to deal with in your companies are not always sitting next to you in the same building, on the same floor. They may be scattered in the building. They may be scattered throughout the country. And hopefully you got one of those jobs where they scattered throughout the world, right? And so the only way you're going to be able to make an impactful conversation is online. So get comfortable with that. Become good at that, because that is the way we're going. If you ask somebody about Zoom and Teams, I don't know, pre-COVID, hardly anyone heard about it.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Now it is like every other thing. When people tell you, let's meet, I like to meet at the Regent campus because we got lekker coffee, right? I always think, okay, lekker, come and join us for coffee. Michelle, you had coffee at Regent, right? You can vouch for good coffee, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and most times their default position is no, I'll send you a connection link. We'll talk online.
Sure.
In fact, I've got a meeting tomorrow, Michelle. The company is literally 2 blocks away from us.
And they prefer online.
And they said, no, we'll do it online. I said, well, why? Well, I mean, do you not have space at your office? You know, so we must get comfortable with online. That is the way, whether we like it or not. That's the way it's going. And savor the moments when you get the in-person one, but become comfortable with it. People are still learning how to do online. So please, people, I'm at 7% or 10%. I'm going to be dropping shortly. But yeah, thanks for that. I'm really going to keep quiet this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So, okay. So you're going to create engagement by using a pause and a poll, for example, like we did just now. Turn and talk. Have your partner discussions. Get people talking within your session. Use the interactive moments, for example, show of hands, movement, change your positions, your activity. So very often I like to walk around the room. You might see me at the back of the room, you'll see me in the front, you'll see me left, right, all over, unless I'm by the Max Hub and people online need to hear me. But yeah, movement is important. And I look at each person in the eye. I think it's really important when you speak to them, you look at them in the eye so that they feel like they're still drawn in. They understand. They feel like they are part of what you're saying. Now we work on delivering in a confident manner. So it's not just about standing up and preparing yourself. Of course, we have to have the mental prep, so your visualization, you've got your positive self-talk, but when it comes to your body language as well, I want you to stand up tall. So use the open posture, purposeful gestures, your eye contact. Like I said to you in the previous slide, use eye contact with your listeners. When you start off and throughout your presentation, whether you are standing, whether you're doing it online, I still want you up straight. Your head, look straight, look tall, shoulders down. I don't want it up at the ears showing that you're stressed and you're tense and you're struggling to talk. And the more relaxed your body is, the easier it is for the words to come out. That is what you're wanting. To effectively communicate, relax your body. Use your breathing techniques. Get yourself into a situation where you are prepared with everything, you are relaxed, you're able to speak easily, and if it makes makes things easier for you. You can even script your entire presentation. I prefer it when I prepare. I know exactly what each slide is covering, and I add my 10 cents worth, 20 cents worth into each slide. So you talk to the slides. Now you're looking at your vocal variety. So we usually use something called modulation. Modulation is changing your voice in ways of avoiding monotonous speech. So you're looking at pitch, your power in your voice, pausing, paces, how quickly and slowly you talk, and inflection. It's the gentle rise and fall within your pitch. So you're just changing your voice in different ways, subtly, so that you're sounding more interesting and people want to listen to you. Now you get to your transition and close. So now you're going to summarize your key points, maybe issue a challenge or a call to actions. End with a memorable statement, which I find is really important. Just like you opened with a very important statement, you're going to end as well. So you start with the hook. Now you're going to have a statement that's still going to stick in people's minds, which is very important. They're going to leave with something that they're not going to forget. The best presentation don't end. They begin something new. Okay. Can I ask you to quickly just rate yourself on each one of these statements? How actively do you engage your audience during longer conversations or presentations? How would you rate your confident delivery, voice, body language, mental preparation? How well do you use professional tools, for example, emailing, virtual meetings, social media? I know we spoke to the lady earlier, and she does a lot of presentations online. And the last question, how skilled are you at using storytelling or adapting your communication for diverse audiences? Now, remember, as we said earlier, we deal with so many different people in our country, and we are lucky. I think the most important thing about intercultural communication is that we don't assume. I think when we assume that this one is the same as that one is the same as that one, that is when the problem arises. Just remember, each one of us is unique, and that is what makes us amazing. It's not, I mean, if we were all the same, it would be completely boring. So, I mean, it's great that we have such a diverse audiences, diverse listeners. And I know you might think that it's difficult to have to present to all sorts of different people. It isn't. You just need to stop assuming and say, well, everyone's different. This is what I'm saying. I'm catering for everybody, and everybody needs to understand, but it's how you say it. How do you package that message? I'm going to give you a moment to look at this poll and to rate yourselves, and we'll move on. Okay, let's move on. Are we all ready? So I mean, I know you might think this is quite amusing, but yes, there are power poses for confidence. Now, who watches Grey's Anatomy? I don't know if you remember, but the Superman pose was quite important there. You've got the steeple that happens during meetings, so you generally end up sitting like this with your hands up in front of you. And when you are speaking and walking around, use the open palms. Why? Because people trust you. They see that you are giving them everything. You have nothing to hide and you're open with them. And that is what people really appreciate. So I'd like to give you a 30-day challenge. I know you're going to say, Michelle, please don't. This is not something that I'm willing to do, but I think this will really help you to kick it off and to say, okay, well, here's one small thing that I can do daily, and you get big results. So first thing, in the first week, I'd like for you to please record yourself speaking 2 minutes daily, just 2 minutes, and speak on any topic you want, something that you're interested in. Now, in the second week, I want you to practice that impact framework with family or friends, somebody that you trust, someone that, you're very comfortable with. In the third week, I want you now to volunteer to present in class or at work. And then in the fourth week, now you're going to join a speaking group or start a practice group and see how that grows. And let me know. It's just a matter of starting small. And the moment you start small and you start building from that, you get big results and something big comes. So, yeah, it might seem like it's very overwhelming, but just take it one bit at a time. Now, the STAR method is something that really helped me. Tell your story. You're going to set your scene, create a situation, then you give them a challenge, give it a task, right? Build up to an action, explain what was done, and then you share your outcome, your result. So again, it's building up slowly. Okay. Are we all right so far? Are there any questions? Now, obviously, when we try and build our confidence, it's really, I know I'm saying to you like it's important to build the confidence and prep, etc. But remember, confidence it works in a feedback loop. So let's say you have preparation, right? You prepare your speech. That's building confidence because now you feel you know what you're going to say. You're happy with your speech. You're happy with everything. Confidence improves your delivery. So you deliver your presentation. It goes really great. And somebody comes, and next time you deliver even better, which creates more positive feedback. The next time you deliver, you have more positive feedback, and this increases your confidence. So each time you practice and deliver more and more, the more positive and the more confident you become. So as I said earlier, preparation is really important. Get comfortable with what you're saying. I'm not saying, just like Hussein mentioned to us earlier, and he was 100% correct in saying, just because you know what you are saying and because you know your craft, it doesn't mean that you can just stand up and say any old nonsense. It doesn't work that way. There has to be a general, you've got to deliver in a specific way, a beginning, middle, and an end, and you've got to be able to connect with the listeners. Be confident. Show your confidence. Increase the confidence and be positive. Okay. Now, these are the results that you got from your self-assessment. Let's just look at it quickly. So if you scored between 10 and 22, you're still developing your presentation skills. You're beginning, you're building your communication and presentation skills. Focus on clarity and confidence first. If you got between 23 and 34, you're now growing your skill set. Build more consistency, especially when you're delivering and in your structure, and you need to now practice it frequently. Between 35 and 44, you're quite proficient. You're a capable communicator, you have good structure, good presence, you have a good interaction with your audience, and you're focusing now. You have to focus on your storytelling, your engagement, and adaptability. Okay? If you got between 45 and 50, then you're quite advanced. You are impactful, you're confident, and you're a professional communicator. So what you need to do is continue to refine and mentor other people who are also trying to develop as presenters. And this should be as part of your development journey as well, because I definitely find that when I help others, then I also gain and I develop as a presenter too. So I'm constantly learning from people, and I'm constantly learning from different experiences around me, and it helps me a lot. So naturally, the choice is yours. Like we said earlier, your technical degree is going to get you in the door. But at the end of the day, your communication skills and how good they are will definitely determine how far you're going to go. So the question isn't whether you're going to communicate, it's rather if you'll communicate effectively. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed getting to know a few of you that gave me feedback. And I'm going to now open this up to questions and to a bit of a chat. So is everybody? Thank you, Ruba. I really appreciate it.
Michelle, you did such a good job. There's no questions. They got no questions to ask you. I mean, you've just like nailed everything. Am I right, guys? Am I right? Just give a thumbs up if you're right, eh? Yeah. Well, Michelle, thank you very much. It was really good. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Guys, this recording and the slides will be available in the next few days. I will share, or Nombolelo will share with you the site on which it is located. And before we conclude, Nombolelo, if you could just post the link where the CV writer and interview simulator is. So if you want to take 2 minutes, Nombolelo, I'm going to give you the end credits advert for a movie. Just in 2 minutes, explain to them where they can get the services and what's the cost of it, etc., etc. Please, Nombolelo.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hussein. I'll take it from here with the roll-ups at the end of a movie at the cinema. So as I introduced myself earlier, my name is Nombulelo and I am the Employability Officer at Regent Business School. I am based at the Durban campus, but you can communicate with me via email. So what we do in our office is that we prepare our students as well as our graduates, our alumni, for the world of work. And one of the things that we have an in-house AI tools, which is a CV writer and an interview simulator. So as you are a Regent student, it means that these tools are free for you. So at no cost, you just have to go on the site. I will post the links for both the CV builder as well as the interview simulator on the chat. So feel free to go explore our AI tools. They're free of charge, and then you can obviously take these tools and apply them to your professional advancements, everyone. So I will post the links as well as my email address. Yeah, so you have any other question, feel free to pop me an email. Did I miss anything, Mr. Hussein?
No, I think you're okay. I think you're in the 20 to 35 range, but we'll get you to the 45 range. Nombole. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right then.
Right. Michelle, again, thank you to you and to your time. We don't want to take more time. We've asked the students to give us an hour, and for those of you who joined and stayed throughout the whole thing, truly appreciate it. Thank you. Just for your information, we're doing 2 of these webinars in the first semester. So today is the second of the 2 webinars. If you want a recording of the previous one, when I send you the link in the next day or 2, you can get access to the one we've done previous to this. And we've got 2 more webinars in the second semester, sometime in August or September, and the second one sometime in September, October. So there's 4 webinars in the year for you, and they are really part and parcel of preparing you or as a service from the employability unit. We're really trying to find a way of upskilling you and giving you the right tools to give you the confidence and the preparation for that. And tonight's presentation was very much in line with that. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. You can communicate with Nombolelo at any time you want, and I'm sure she'll be able to answer questions for you in the future. Michelle, if you're still back online, thank you to you. And
thank you, Michelle.
Yeah,
My pleasure. Thank you.
The presents are on their way. I just need your email. I need you to email me, and then we'll take it from there. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good
Bye,
night.
everyone.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.